tonight's episode, The Ripoff.
All right, welcome everybody. Sorry about lateness, and appreciate your patience. Looks like a bunch of people are already in here chatting. Welcome and good morning. So, right on. So here's the deal. Let's blame Chipman. First off, this is all Chipman's fault. But I got screwed up with my show last night and went to, I just wanted to lay down just for a moment. And during while I was listening to G23's chat last night and fell asleep, I guess technically. You could say technically I fell asleep and slept right through my show and then woke up in the middle of the night. So I've been working on stuff and then decided to take a brisk walk to get the blood flowing before this show. And the puppy was having a good time. She doesn't always like walking, but she seemed like she was having a good time. So we stretched an extra mile in there. Give me some feedback if you would. Is that fan in the background too loud? Anyway, so I figured I'd take advantage of her perkiness, and we did an extra mile, and I didn't calculate time very good. So again, appreciate your patience in the delay, but it's not as bad as last night's delay, right? All right, thanks. So we rescheduled last night's show till today sometime, I forget, sometime at 11 a.m. for me, I think. It's whatever time that comes out to on the, thanks for the feedback. Whatever time that comes out to on the metric coast. So I'm going to go in here and screen share and bring that up on the screen and get me out of here. And here's what I got planned. So since I missed last night's show and I screwed up my sleep schedule, so I guess I'm awake now, and it is 5 in the morning. So I'm like a regular person, I think, like an old person. I'm awake at 5 in the morning. And we'll do a poll since it's only two other old people out there. I had a bunch of iced tea, and I didn't feel like dumping it out because it's not like iced tea grows on trees after all. So I had this thing of iced tea, let's say 3/4 of a thing of iced tea. And then I decided instead of making a whole nother concoction, I would just pour this chocolate oat milk I got that I normally pour into my coffee into this tea, and I'm about to try it. I don't know if this is going to be good or if it's going to be gross. I don't know if I've ever even, I may have poured some sort of milk into iced tea before, but it's probably going to be gross. Well, it's not gross, but it was worthless. Barely, very peaceful. It's just so watered down you can barely taste it. I guess it added a little bit of something to the iced tea. But anyway, so I'm drinking some iced tea. That's definitely got some caffeine in it, so I'm going to be awake here for a bit. Like I say, we'll reschedule the daily or the weekly wrap-up, which should be good. I think it's a good one this week. We had a pretty decent week. A lot of interesting stuff happened, and in the process of doing some projects on my end, I dug up some interesting stuff too. So we'll should have a fun live conversation then. All right, so we're opening up opening up this video and going to, well, I didn't even link to it. So we're going to just type in semi-automatic double action pistol. Oh no, let's type in, that's a stupid thing to type in. Let's type in choosing the right semi-automatic double action pistol into the YouTubes. YouTube is going to show you this amazing video. So first off, we're going to give all credit. I got to go turn this thing off. Hold on. What? You know what? Let's go over here real quick. Let's go. Wait, where's the things? Here, I'm going to put a commercial on while I go fiddle with my thing.
All right, some people were wondering how we made a Glock hand grenade, and it's pretty simple. First, you take a hand grenade and get the top off, the spoon. This is a lot easier if you don't pull the pin, if you just unscrew it from the grenade. Once you've got the spoon and everything, get yourself one of these Glock stress balls and poke a little hole in the top. and it's that easy, and you've got a Glock hand grenade. It's pretty California compliant because really it's just a stress ball. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that quick how-to video on how to make a Glock hand grenade. It is perfection, so don't think you can improve on this technique. Alright, and again, hand grenade, take out the spoon, shove it in the stress ball. Thanks for watching.
Dang, that worked out pretty good. I was able to go do a whole bunch of tasks. So stay tuned for way more commercials. That's basically the new lazy way to do a live show. I can just sit here the whole live show pushing a button, letting little live or recorded things happen. Anyway, we're going to watch a video together here from Johnny Rowland. So Johnny Rowland is awesome, and he had a shooting show on VHS going up to satellite dishes on a network that would eventually be sold and then rebranded as the Outdoor Network. And then it became a channel on cable TV or whatever. So, and the rest is history. But back in the day, Johnny Rowland was this dude making a show, I think on VHS, I'm assuming. And then it looked like he had access to some sort of like public access cable thing, or maybe some production company let him, or maybe he worked. I don't know what the deal was, but anyway, he had his show, and his show ran from, let's go take a look, from 91 to something like 91 to 2001. And we're about to go check out the channel that this video is on. It's called Johnny Rowland Shooting Show Archives, and instead of me fumbling around trying to remember everything, we'll just read the description of this YouTube channel. And here's the link to the YouTube channel. Boom. I do have one of the stress balls in the giveaway going on right now in our battle to fight taxes and bills. We've got a hat battle going on. We'll chat more about that later on. So Johnny Rowland Shooting Show Archives is a YouTube channel. It's only got 834 subs, which is a darn shame because it's awesome. So here's the deal. Here's the description of the channel. This channel is dedicated to Johnny Rowland Shooting Show that aired from around 90 to 2001. I ended up with almost all the VHS tapes and masters from this show. They were bought from a storage locker auction and were bound for the landfill. A friend of mine brought them to me, so I figured I'd digitize them and upload them here. All credit goes to Johnny Rowland, who now lives in Tombstone, Arizona. Thanks, Johnny, for making the show. Johnny is the creator of the 460 Rowland cartridge, which gives the true 44 Magnum power in a semi-auto platform. Clark's Custom, Guns, and Johnny brought this to life, and I personally love the round. It's a reloader's delight, much like the 300 Blackout and 10mm. As you know and might have seen, Johnny is a very passionate person when it comes to life, liberty, corruption, and other views he shares on the show. So with that being said, the views expressed in this show are not necessarily that of the channel's manager. Everything here is subject to free will. Enjoy. So then this dude, I'm assuming, or it's a chick, we don't know, posted. There's hardly anything in the discussion, so you could go say thanks to the person so that they get some acknowledgement for doing this. They don't link to any channels. They only have one playlist, and it's useless. And then they got all these videos. And their videos are, all, like they just said, all these VHS tapes that were salvaged or, diverted from going into the trash. And I stumbled across this doing some research for the 2A History Project one time. And you can see there's a lot of stuff here. Most of these are like an hour or a half an hour. So it's a lot of time you're seeing go by here on the screen. And for 2 years, this person has been posting stuff. So this is awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. And that's where we're horking this off of completely. So some of the stuff that's up there is other stuff. And like they had a VHS tape with no label, or it was just some other thing that was in the pile. At least that's what I assume. So here's what this one says. Choosing the right semi-automatic double-action pistol full video that was featured on the Shoot and Show, air date 10/14/1993, covers the pros and cons of double action pistols that were out in the early 1990s. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go down to the picture, not this, I want to go to the pictures up here. Yeah, and click on this. Here, what I can do maybe while it's waiting, can I say thanks to the people who make this possible? Will that stay up on the screen while I do this? Yeah, I think so. Cool. So I can throw these things up on the screen every once in a while because very much like a magazine or an organization that puts out something periodically, you know, we have subscribers, people that make it possible for us to do what we do, or me to do what I do, and the other people that help me, you know, and those are called Patreons. So thanks for those people when we made these cards up. The people in orange have been doing it for the longest, green the middleest, and the blue the recentest. So we want to say thanks to everybody. And a lot of people, it turns out, in doing our research, will often jump from tier to tier. We have different tiers. This one's like 25 bucks. This one is, well, this one doesn't count, but let's say this one's $5 or something. So the different tiers, people will jump around depending on maybe what we're doing or, you know, what's going on in their business. So we do appreciate that. And we want to acknowledge the people that have helped us. And a lot of these people on this list are not currently Patreons anymore either. We want to acknowledge people that have left, you know, in their wake our resources. You know, stuff that we do is creating stuff and putting it online. And these are the kind of people that, well, these are the people that made it possible. So this is actually a real size comparison of the cartridges that were available in the 90s. And we'll watch this video. So I seen this video as I was minding my business. And I watched about this much of it. You can see I watched about 1 minute and 51 seconds. And I'm like, nah, I'm going live. We're watching this live. So here we go. This is, I have no idea if it's from, or no, it is from 93. So I think I lied in the description of this video, didn't I? Hold on. Let's just act like I never said that. Live in 1993. There we go. So here we go. We're going to just totally hork all this, and I don't think they'll care, but if they do, then we're going to have a big lawsuit on our hands because I'm about to hork all of this. So it's starting. This is Paladin Press. So Paladin Press, these two Special Forces dudes come back after Nam, and they didn't like how, for one, there was no manuals, so they started out printing out all the military manuals so that people could get them, not have to like hork them from off the military. And the military didn't print that many, so it's not like there was any to hork anyway. So they started printing military manuals, and then at some point, the one dude, one half of them said, hey, I want to keep making gun books, and then proceeded to make books with people like Cooper and you know, all the different gun books of the day, and then like the how-to books and that kind of stuff, all the stuff that Paladin Press ended up doing. And the other publisher said, nah, I'd rather go into a week or a monthly magazine, and he started publishing Soldier of Fortune. So Paladin Press is half of the publishing company that started that eventually became both of those two organizations. So Paladin Press, and we get Johnny Rowland, so it's already that good. And we're only 11 seconds into it. I have no idea what Sandby is yet, and I don't know what Lottie is yet, but I'm going to find out. Don't super chat in this one, please, because it's going to get copyrighted. We do have a Patreon. You can buy us co-phase or whatever they're called, but don't super chat this one, please.
The purpose of this program is to point out and evaluate the key characteristics that you should consider when procuring a double-action semi-automatic pistol.
Let's not forget that in 1993, right? Well, first off, they got graphics up on the screen because it was tough to put them on top of the images, I think. At least it was expensive for me to do that in 97. So I don't think they could just do it in 93. But look at this. Bam. Like, wait, is that Nighthawk Medic? Are you in this video? Is it okay if we show this? So anyway, look at this. They're already doing like cool video effects and whatnot. Thumb forward grip in 1993. What? I thought that's modern. I thought somebody on YouTube taught us that. Stupid semi-auto double action only 9mm. Yep. Look at this H&K squeeze cocker. Hey, that's what it's called. In 1993, they're about to call this a common gun, like in common use. See that stance? Oh, dang it. Boom. See that stance? All right, I'm going to start using the arrow keys because they'll give me a 5-second bump. And you notice, I'm going to go back. Now I'll quit thinking with it and just experience the muzzles and the audio. Man stoppers. That was back in the 90s. We called things man stoppers. I don't ever remember seeing that before, but in this video, they're called man stoppers. That's one of the reasons 9mm people got the reputation that they have today. It's because they went around saying things like they're a man stopper. Selecting the right double action automatic, right off, leftist, right? They don't care about left-handed shooters, but whatever.
The purpose of this program is to point out and evaluate the key characteristics.
I don't like people that say program, but whatever. But this is the part originally meant to go back and look at. Look how they're shooting over this guy's right shoulder.
That you should consider when.
Like, this guy's nowhere near looking over that gun. This was all like being filmed by the same kind of techniques we're using today in 2021 with our phones making our YouTube videos, and we think we're so good. And this guy's using, or what is that? Anyone? Ruger P80. It's 1993. Can it even be a P95? Oh, it has to be a P85. Right. Good.
Procuring a double action.
Boom. This is that gun shop. Well, you haven't seen the other videos I've seen. This is that gun shop in the other videos I've seen. Boom. I know what the gun shop this is.
Semi-automatic pistol. This video is designed to serve as a...
Okay. You've seen the movie The Matrix. This is where they got the idea for The Matrix. Imagine, if you will, in 1993, there's this room someplace, and you can just go into this room somewhere, and there's this weird-ass pegboard, because they didn't have any other kind of thing besides pegboard in 93, unless you just took a regular wood and put screws in it, I guess. So this was probably cutting-edge pegboard-esque shit. And notice the little tape machine, little labels. This is high-tech right here. So that movie, The Matrix, can suck it. Watch what's about to happen right now. This happened in 1993. And at first you're going to go, why aren't any of these things just hanging off of the trigger guards? Right? Maybe that's what you're questioning yourself right now. How come none of these pegs go through trigger guards?
Guide for agencies and individuals interested in purchasing such handguns. The terms double action and single action.
What gun shop is this? Like, I'm just going to this gun shop from now on. Like, you can just go there, the guns are loaded, you pick them up, you start shooting them at the wall.
Refer to the action of the trigger. On a single action automatic, the trigger performs only one function.
Who wants that one? That thing is sweet. That's basically the 1911 I grew up on right there. And for me, I was happy with them Hogue grips. My grandpa was pissed about them grips. He hated them grips. I was running around with them grips like there was no tomorrow.
Release of the hammer or striker. On a double action automatic, the trigger performs two functions. It brings the
stupid gun. See, even back then, nobody liked the Beretta. Look at the way he's holding it.
The hammer to the full cock position and then releases it. The term trigger cocking is a good descriptive term of how a double action
it's called trigger cocking. Deal with it.
Trigger functions. By presenting information about the various factors.
Somebody was like, you know what? Let's film this, but let's film this blue on blue, and wear a blue hat.
Double action trigger functions. By presenting information about the various factors involved in choosing a firearm.
Maybe they were going to do a green screen and like make that gun just hover without a hand or without a grip. Look at this guy holding it that can't. Can you even can't? I can't. I totally can't like that though. This is 1993. There's people today that can't.
We hope to help our viewers make an informed choice.
Keep an eye on this gun shop. You're going to see it in other videos of the era.
Firearm is best? The answer to that question
This is how you hang out in a gun shop, by the way. If you're standing around like some kind of punk ass, not like this, then you don't even know how to hang out in a gun shop.
depends on many variables, such as the use, constraints, and performance levels that are acceptable to the purchaser.
You think that was fair to the other targets? Did you see the way that guy only shot at the one target and all his other targets were there?
Constraints and performance levels that are acceptable to the purchaser.
I don't think so.
The fact is,
you're going to see this clip over and over.
What is best for you or your agency?
There's that pegboard again. Notice nobody has to load nothing. You just pull it off the pegboard and start shooting at that wall.
May not be best for someone else or another agency.
We didn't care about hearing protection back then because we didn't need it. Wimpy.
We recommend that you take us.
All right, this is the part where I was like, I'm not watching this. I'm going to watch this live because this is obviously going to be the beginnings of some sort of 9mm conspiracy, probably. So they're basically telling a bunch of cops. This is what they're about to tell cops. And notice how subliminally they already filled in this one.
Performance levels that are acceptable to the purchaser. The fact is, what is best for you or your agency may not be best for someone else or another agency. We recommend that you take a systematic approach by writing down all of the characteristics you desire in your double-action automatic. Start with the chambering, weighing the pros and cons of each cartridge. Then move to the safety operating systems and do the same. Since not all chamberings are available in all operating systems, it may be necessary to change the caliber of choice.
Look at this. I'm going to pause it on this sweet Glock for a couple of seconds here. This is the Gen 2. So this is already after Glock has been established and already started to integrate to the next levels of grip textures. Before they went to the crazy, goofy thumbhole or finger grooves, and notice the single pin. Elegance. 34 parts. That's all you need.
In the operating system.
Stupid gun. Look at look at Beretta owners need an arrow to tell them what to push on. They don't even know where to push on it.
Is deemed more important. After examining the chambering and operating systems, look at the remaining choices and their respective characteristics.
Is there any difference between this 1993 VHS tape and any video you're getting pushed down your throat today on YouTube? No, they're faking it. They're all just copying off of Roland.
Once you have weighed all of the factors,
look at this. You're like, oh, on my YouTube video, they do things like torture tests.
Including cost.
Well, 9mm, putting water on it is a torture test. But listen to what they're saying. They're about to go, blah, 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 cost, blah, blah, blah. If it's in common use or something, and then they got a squeeze cocker set in there. Like, I'll give them the P85 or whatever this is. No, this is a P89, I guess. It's all smooth. But, and maybe the Glock. I guess they were around. But, come on. Nobody had an H&K. You'd sell a car and buy an H&K back then?
After examining the chambering and operating systems, look at the remaining choices and their respective characteristics. Once you have weighed all of the factors, including cost, the best choice for you will become evident. Since new models and variations are constantly being introduced, we've restricted our coverage to those pistols that are in actual production or that are known to be scheduled for production in the immediate future. Unavoidably, some makes and models were not included because they do not have a significant market presence.
The H&K squeeze cocker's included because it has a significant market presence. So even back in '93, you could tell they were preferential treatment.
We've also chosen to limit coverage to pistols chambered for the 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 10mm, and 45 ACP rounds.
That saved 2 rounds.
The marketplace has clearly indicated that the double action system, or a closely related unique trigger system, is the trend for the foreseeable future. Therefore,
A Colt double eagle.
Further limited to the double action autos and such unique trigger systems as the Heckler & Koch V7 and the Glocks.
And the Glock.
Many factors have been...
Okay. They're innovative in many ways, except for this part where for some reason they decide to just show us the magwells on every time when they're like, oh, throw it on the fuzzy fur. Yeah, the green fur. And then, no, I don't want to see it from like any other angle except up the magwell. Pervert.
Taken into consideration in evaluating each weapon series. Chambering is sometimes the only major difference from one model or manufacturer to the next.
Was that a CZ? Oh, no, it was a Springfield. What model was that? Does that bother people? Because you act like CZs are so good and there's a Springfield right there?
Chambering is sometimes the only...
Isn't it awesome when you can't remember what millimeter it is, so you have to write it so big that the only thing stopping you is like the slide doesn't exist any further. But like, no, I want it written on the slide so big that you can see it from really far away, even if you're old.
A major difference from one model or manufacturer to the next. Therefore, you must be aware of the various characteristics of the four chamberings under discussion. This will enable you to make an informed decision on which weapon best...
This is my Doc Medic right here. We're taking a screenshot of this. So, let's see. I'm missing stuff. I've been really paying attention, so I'm going to go over here and look. Does anybody want to jump in here? I guess I should ask that if anybody wants to jump in so you don't just have to hear me. Let's see. Uncleared pistol magazine and pulling on the trigger. Went to subscribe, watch your video, right on. Oh, I thought you guys knew each other. At Hawk Medic. This is Echo. By the way, Florida. How come everybody that lives in Florida likes guns? Is it because of it looks like Florida? All right. So I didn't miss anything else. You guys should just check. So I am going to take a screenshot of this. So I hit print screen on my computer, and then I open up just Paint, which is a piece of stuff that's already in Windows. And then I do Control V, right? That pastes it. And this is everything that's going on. Here's my one monitor where you guys are, and here's the other monitor that we're watching over here. So I'll just go in and select that piece of what we're looking at and say crop, and then go File and Save, and then just save this real quick. Save this real quick next to this one. Put something in there. Boom. And then I got that's how I steal a screenshot off of a 1993 VHS tape that somehow was filmed probably in Florida, got its way to Louisiana, somehow got to wherever this guy's thing is, up onto the internet tubes, and now I got it in Arizona. I'm going to profit off of it.
Suit your needs.
That's capitalism.
The 9mm Parabellum cartridge.
Okay, I agree with you. Let's just fast forward through this part. It's going to be stupid and boring. So make the video go by faster too. So look at, they're going to sit around talking about how stupid it is, and then they're going to put it in this hole.
A 10mm.
Whoa! Did you see that? Maybe I should go back and get the details, but I don't think I need to. Hold on.
For incapacitation.
Oh yeah.
A too-quick bullet expansion can result in insufficient penetration for incapacitation.
Okay, here we go. I don't know the details, but this is the 10mm, and that is the 9mm right there. That one is the 9mm hole. This one is the 10mm hole. I don't think it needs any more.
This round has much less energy than the 10mm. The 40 Smith & Wesson.
Here we go.
The advantages of this cartridge include it is available in the 9mm size frame handguns. It allows for a larger magazine capacity than most 10mm or 45s. Even so, it still has the general ballistics of the FBI 10mm or 45 ACP round, typically 950 to 975 feet per second for the 180 grain hollow point. The 40 and
You know, if you had a 40 Ruger P89 double action only, you could just walk around showing that to people, and there's certain people who would get an upset stomach just by seeing it. They would feel ill just by looking at it because they've conditioned themselves to the 9mm so much and their fancy brands.
W has a wider and heavier bullet than a 9mm. Therefore, it is not as dependent on expansion to achieve.
Back in our day, you would just get a box of clay and shoot at it, and then you'd stick a ruler in there. Well, how much more efficient is this than your fancy ballistic gels nowadays?
A large permanent wound channel. The recoil from the 40 S&W is relatively mild.
When you people find out about photocopy machines, you're going to really be thrown for a loop. I think it's magic.
This round allows for a smaller grip than the 10mm and 45 ACP in large capacity.
I love how I could just turn this on and I could be listening to, like, you want me to tell you how many channels I could be listening to right now, and I'd hear the same exact discussion that I'm hearing right now on the screen. From 1993 off of VHS tape.
Guns. The disadvantages of the 40 Smith & Wesson include...
And people go, why do you not care at all about the debate between calibers? And I'm like, I don't know, because my entire life I've heard the debate between calibers and I could care less.
It has a lower magazine capacity than the 9mm and less energy than the 10mm full loads. The 40 S&W bullet weighs less than the 45 ACP load and has a smaller diameter. At the present, there is only a small variety of loads and all.
I couldn't help it. He's the guy that said it. I just had to sit here listening to it. Yep, exactly. All right, well,
Only a small selection of pistols that are chambered for this cartridge. Some observers expect this situation to change rapidly. The 40 S&W is believed by some to be the police round of the future.
Boom.
The 40 S&W is designed as a compromise cartridge.
Oh, shit.
Approaches 45 ACP effectiveness.
We don't like compromise here, so we're going to keep going. Look at the hole it made, though.
The S&W, this wider and heavier bullet, is not as dependent on...
I can't believe they couldn't go to the trouble of, like, scratching 40 in here or getting, like, some kind of stamp to just stick in there that would say 40, you know, so that they could... Or put a card right there. Like, they're just going to hold a bullet. It seems pretty cheesy. I think double eagles are stupid. Does anybody like double eagles?
Available. It allows for a smaller magazine capacity than most 9mm and 40 Smith &
Look at this, jamming his finger up under the trigger guard technique.
Wesson pistols. The distribution and selection of ammunition is not as good as the 9mm or 45 cartridge.
So what do you think? They were probably like, you know what would give good contrast on the film is if we used a green fur background, and they're like, yeah, that's a good excuse for having a big green fur coat or whatever, or is this a big green fur cape?
There is currently only a small selection of handguns available that can chamber this round, and the high-pressure loads are tough on the guns. The 10mm auto is unavailable in submachine guns at this time, except for the H&K MP5.
Oh, that was a nasty burn, and I don't think there's any submachine guns with 10mm in them to this day. So we're skipping ahead. Slide-mounted hammer drop in safety. Oh, is this even legal? Holy moly. Side-mounted hammer drop in safety.
This is the classic or original safety system for double-action autos. It offers two reasonable modes of carry.
Here we go. Let's make a gun with 785 things for your manual of arms, and then get all mad when people have any error in anything under stress. That's awesome. That's not us setting everybody up for failure. Let's make guns so they have this stupid-ass little levers all over that can get jammed with shit, break, or cause confusion when trying to be used. Yeah, that's great. Just because you can, or just because Germans invented it?
Fully loaded with safety on, or fully loaded with safety off.
Oh, let's put half the shit on the slide because we're stupid and never put it on the frame where it belongs like a real gun. Idiots. So this is one of the reasons that people I don't know, they never learned, because this, even in the 90s, this kind of garbage was being
Survival.
perpetrated.
Safety will delay the use of the
But this was
snatch
new
pistol
back in the
many
day, right?
cases. Some agencies are utilizing holsters with built-in anti-snatch mechanisms to help prevent such incidents.
Anti-snatch.
Another advantage of this type of system is that the pistol may be loaded and unloaded with the safety engaged at all times and without ever touching the trigger. The major disadvantage to this system is that the safety can be inadvertently engaged during carry or when clearing a malfunction. The subsequent...
Oh yeah, the Chris, I totally forgot about that, and that is a fun one. Chiappa. A submachine gun? Makes no sense to me. This thing here? When is this from? 2017? I've never seen this before, but I don't think this is Chiappa. Or is that like the military side of Chiappa or something? Super cool. It's about time for the Italians to do something awesome. If the Italians put a P90 style 90-degree magazine on top handheld like Scorpion, yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's see, Chris Vector and Tanya. Let's see, Double Eagle was strictly, if somebody wants to jump in, let me know. The Double Eagle was strictly manufactured for law enforcement. We're about a quarter of the way through this, so I'll have to start jumping forward at some point. The Double Eagle was strictly manufactured for law enforcement and trickled in the civilian market for the double trigger pull was 14 pounds, the single was 2.5. It was horrible. Yeah, exactly. I just assume it was horrible because I've never seen one, like ever, and no one's ever really talked about them. And I think I did ask about them once, or maybe they came up in conversation, and I got the impression that they were like bad milk or something, like nobody wanted them. Let's keep going. So, our 9mm is okay in a sub gun? That's the only thing they're for. That's period. The only thing that the bullet was designed for. Machine guns. And if you need a machine gun to kill a deer, what do you think? They're wearing a Kevlar vest? Come on, man.
Shooting delay could be potentially fatal.
Again, another Beretta. Have to have an arrow to even tell them where to use the thing.
This is the part you push on. Double action pull. Subsequent shots have a single action trigger pull. The
Not a big
pistol
fan.
In all, first shot is double action, and subsequent shots are single action when carried with the hammer down. When carried in the cock, and can be difficult to operate with cold hands or gloves.
What?
Charge. This, such as a finger on the trigger while running, holstering, or delay in firing in the case of a snatched pistol. Also, improper handling, such as a finger on the trigger while running.
Oh, I bet you they're talking about double action onlys. Let's find out.
The Glock system.
Oh, it's just called the Glock system.
This system is available only on Glock pistols and is a variation on the double action only system. With only one method of carry and no manual safety or decock levers to manipulate, it is one of the simplest systems to operate. The trigger pull feels like a two-stage military trigger, such as on the M1 Garand. All shots have the same trigger pull. The consistent and easily controlled trigger pull is a major advantage. This trim pistol without levers has a simple manual of arms. The disadvantages include no delay in firing in the case of a snatched pistol, Also, improper handling, such as a finger on the trigger while running, holstering, or covering a suspect can easily lead to accidental discharge. The slide release is extremely small and can be difficult to operate with cold hands or gloves.
Okay, so that's their 3 problems with the Glock. If you give it to a bad guy, the bad guy can use it against you, okay? And it's not a stupid, complicated gun that maybe the guy can't figure out the puzzle of the other guns. And then 2, if you run around with your finger on the trigger and do stuff, you might shoot yourself with it. Okay, that's your 2 problems with Glock. Now the slide release or the slide stop being too little, okay, I'll give them that. It was too little, I think, on the first one too. But you get a, who makes that slide stop? Vickers makes a slide stop. That's the shit. So get one of them and you're done. It's right in the middle between the competition one and the real one, if I remember right. There's probably a million other ones by now. Hey, you know what? I'm going to put a commercial on while the dog is slurping that water, and then that'll let me eat.
The DC Project, 50 women descending on our nation's capital to put a face on the Second Amendment.
For me, the Second Amendment is about family heritage.
To defend against hate crimes.
My right to protect my family.
Gives me the right to decide when I need protection.
Because you should never be denied a chance to protect yourself and your loved ones.
My firearm levels the playing field against someone trying to hurt me.
It means survival.
My responsibility.
I am my own first responder.
Because some believe no means yes.
It's a peace of mind.
Provide food for my family.
Recreation and sport.
Confidence that I can take care of myself.
My right to life.
It's my liberty.
I refuse to be a victim.
The protection of my children.
Confidence in our nation's present and future.
Legacy.
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 My birthright as an American.
And mine too.
You know how many chicks in that video that we just showed there have gone to the Supreme Court and won twice? Yeah, one of them, but that's pretty cool still. All right, so there's one from the 90s. The Eternals are head together with pins and paper clips. What? I don't know. I guess that was a bit ago. Talking about an old Glock. Police officers in Florida most states use what's called a level 3 restraint, which requires you to break the thumb, push the button, push down, full forward. Kind of depends on what they're doing, but yeah, especially in what do they call that? When you're giving tickets, like when you're out interacting with people, for sure. Okay. Gen 1. See, that's the thing. They didn't have any stippling, right? So that's what I like about them, though. So, but yeah, they're not necessarily the best, but they're for what they were awesome. Let's see, but they did have best grip out of all of them till Gen 5. I learned with the hump and the trigger groups, so I got one without them. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the trigger groups. I've lived with them also, but I do like them without them. Actually, I like them both ways. So. Used to be like Glocks. I'm like Glocks not bad. I'm just skeptical on striker fire. I went with execute. My left ear already seen that on the table. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to be concerned about something moving the trigger, right? So there's not much that can go behind the trigger, but there's things that can get into the trigger. So yeah, having a trigger guard isn't super critical, obviously, but I wouldn't be too concerned about this. The striker mechanism, super solid. It's just too much time on the clock with them working under so many conditions. Okay, so back to the video. That was a little intermission. Appreciate your patience there while the dog was making a bunch of noise. I figured it's take an opportunity to play that DC Project commercial. DC Project is, like the video mentioned, education over legislation. So a bunch of ladies that get together and go to the national level and state level representatives and meet with our representatives, both to learn and to communicate our positions and to offer themselves as reference, to offer their experience to the representatives, so that when issues come up or when they're called on something or to do something, they have people who are in the know that are dedicated and interested on our side to be the expert witness or to lend them the information that they need. I think you can see the results of that last year and this year, beginning of this year, with how many times the testimonies to the Senate committees are people, delegates of the DC project. And again, that's not the same old marginalized, what's that called? Overton windowed manipulation bullshit version that they try to use of what a gun owner is. And the DC project is literally changing that. They're only one of the many female organizations that are doing that. The DC project does it in a big way. They're attempting now to get as many delegates of theirs as possible to Florida in October, speaking of Florida, in October, to give them up training, to give them skill building on how to be an activist, how to be a content creator, how to be motivated, how to motivate. These are moms, these are grandmoms, these are daughters, right? These are cousins and sisters. Be their Bloomberg. Somebody can grab a link for me. I'll go grab it, I guess. I'll go do it. DC project. Give them money. What the fuck? We're capitalists, right? And these are chicks trying to just do work for us and our descendants, just doing the actual work. So anyway, I play their commercial to get a couple of minutes to take a break here, but also to just cram it down everybody's throats that this is the future of the Second Amendment personified, right? Not the only future, just the cutting fucking edge of the future. Anyway, so let's keep going into the cutting edge of 1993's future. A photocopy, VHS digitized screenshot of a magazine, photocopy, or not photocopy, probably just a magazine picture, I'm guessing. I don't think that's a poster.
Glock alone offers a variety of trigger pulls, ranging from a standard 5-pound to an 8-pound pull. These can be further modified by the installation of the New York trigger, which increases
New York triggers are awesome. They're not going to show it at this view, though.
Is the weight of both the slack and release stages. The New York trigger option was disliked by our testers because it interfered with accuracy and slowed rapid-fire shooting.
Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. When is someone going to have an actual discussion on New York triggers and the New York Police Department and all the issues? And actually, it's not even funny. I mean, that's probably going to have some influence there, because they hobble their police by putting those stupid New York triggers in there, and then they get all mad when they can't hit nothing with them. So I don't think that's I mean, I know people have probably talked about that before, but I don't know if I've seen something that's like the thing to point to for that, because I think that could be brought up more often. Anyhow, so then we get they're still going through the different types of guns, and then they bring up squeeze cocker. So you see how they're desperately, this is H&K fanboys, desperately trying to include squeeze cockers in here, just like they called the Glock safe action, or what it's called, a Glock thing, but they're not going to call the squeeze cocker an H&K thing. They're going to call it squeeze cocker, like there's so many squeeze cock guns out there. Anyway, they're desperately trying to act like the stupid squeeze cocker is going to be a real thing. Let's see what happens.
Practical accuracy advantages automatics offer over revolvers.
I agree with
that.
The
squeeze cocker. Technically, this is a single action pistol, but its unique design is intended to compete with double-action pistols. This system is available only on the Heckler & Koch P7 series. 2 actions are required to shoot: depressing the squeeze cocker lever and then pulling the trigger. Subsequent shots require only pulling the trigger as long as the cocking lever remains depressed. The cocking lever also serves as a slide release, making this pistol totally ambidextrous. The same reason the pistol is extremely trim with no levers or other protuberance. The light, crisp, single-action trigger pull on every shot encourages practical accuracy. It is the only automatic pistol that automatically puts itself into a safe proprietary mode when it leaves the hand of the shooter. As such, it is a reasonably safe system for those in danger of having their gun snatched from a holster or wrestled from their grasp. Because of its light single action.
What is that even supposed to mean? So if the other person doesn't, they're not going to know how to grip the gun to shoot it. They're just going to fumble around and pull the trigger somehow without actually holding it. Come on, man.
Trigger pull. It is particularly vulnerable to the danger of accidental discharges from mishandling. As with the...
I don't know how they come up with that either. How could you accidentally shoot a squeeze cocker? More like it's like most people have to fiddle around before they can actually shoot the thing. I've never heard of anybody accidentally shooting.
Block. One must use caution to keep the fingers away from the trigger when running, holstering, or covering a suspect.
Come on. What did they just... Did they come over here to dig on the clock again? We're discovering stuff here. This is unknown stuff that we're figuring out right now. They tried to cover it up.
As with the Glock, one must use caution to keep the fingers away from the trigger when running, holstering, or covering.
What kind of jackhole is going to hold a squeeze cocker and squeeze the shit out of it, have their finger on the trigger, and then run after somebody? It doesn't... Come on. It sounds like almost anti.
Bring a suspect. The squeeze cock system is markedly different.
Maybe you got to say stuff like that to 9mm shooters. I guess I shouldn't judge.
From other operating safety systems. Those trained on revolvers and double-action automatics may find this system difficult to master. It is closest in handling to that of a...
People that shoot revolvers don't even know what photocopy machines are, so I can't imagine they can't figure out a squeeze cocker.
Systems. Those trained on revolvers and double-action automatics may find this system difficult to master.
It's funny, but it's true, because it's actually a pain in the ass. I feel like I know how to shoot every gun, and that thing is a pain to shoot.
It is closest in handling to that of a conventional single-action automatic. There is more inherent noise in the operation of this pistol than the others evaluated.
There's absolutely no justification for spending that much time on a squeeze cocker. Even if it was a squeeze cocker commercial, you wouldn't spend that much time on a squeeze cocker.
To pay in increased recoil as the pistol gets lighter, if other factors remain.
Uh-oh, what's up with this guy? Why is he looking down so much over them sights? I think he got some kind of issue. Astigmatism?
Equal. At some point, recoil will be severe enough.
Whoa! What in the 9mm shooter is this? Is this? We gotta go see what they're doing here. Unless they're, I don't even know. I don't even know. We're gonna find out. What's it say? The last article I could find on the New York Trigger was in 12, a gun magazine, and they basically talked as it's the bee's knees while admitting a major trigger pull stop. So that's the thing. I mean, it has like a use, right? And so it depends on how much you hate some characteristic of trigger pull or whatever. But, you know, so people buy New York triggers in order to create stuff, and then they also do it in order to prevent stuff, right? And then they like deal with the other things. So New York Trigger will do multiple things to the trigger pull. Anyway, as all that aside, I wouldn't ever consider it for like actual use or anything, but just as an interesting accessory for a Glock, I like throwing it in there because it basically makes a Glock shoot like an old revolver. And that's just interesting that you can do that with that little chunk of plastic, and it just gets in the dang way of everything, I guess, enough and slows everything down that it makes it literally feel like you're shooting an old revolver. So anyway, I just think that's super neat. So yeah, let's figure out what the heck that guy was doing with that gun.
The lighter a pistol is, the easier it is to carry.
Uh-oh, first off, where'd this guy get a permit to carry a gun left-handed? Look at that calculator watch. We're going back. That's a calculator watch right there. That guy had all the answers.
You must first assess your needs in 10 critical areas. Weight. The lighter a pistol is, the easier it is to carry. However, there is a price to pay in increased recoil as the pistol gets lighter, if other factors remain equal. At some point, recoil will be severe enough to hinder shot
What in the name of 9mm is this guy doing?
recovery and become an undesirable side
What do they teach 9mm people? What's happening here?
effect. But in general,
That's how left-handed people shoot? Is that what they teach left-handed people nowadays? This is in 1993. This is why people make fun of boomers.
At some point, recoil will be severe enough to hinder shot recovery and become an undesirable side effect. But in general, the lighter the pistol,
You know what the undesirable side effect of that technique is? Your left thumb becomes like 4.5 feet long.
better. Accuracy. The more accurate a pistol is, the better. However,
Where'd they get this weird 70s van target? How often do you never see something you've never seen before? Like 50.
accuracy.
I hardly ever see something I've never seen before.
The more accurate a pistol is, the better.
What the hell is this? It's Battlestar Galactica. It's that tunnel you go out of in Battlestar Galactica.
However, accuracy is many times a function.
Oh, I bet you it's one of them deals. If you always shoot down the center, then Battlestar Galactica comes from the future and snags you up and says, "Yeah, you can shoot out of the thing without hitting the sides, so you get to pilot a battleship." It could happen. It could happen. It happened in the movies back in the day.
Tolerances in parts fit. In a production pistol, such tight.
Yeah, I figured. This guy is shooting out of his left eye, isn't he? And he's right-handed. So there you go. He wants to be left-handed really bad.
Tolerances can lead to a lower level of reliability.
Ugh, that's that old SIG? Oh no, that's that CZ again.
In adverse or dirty conditions. Reliability always takes precedence over accuracy. The expected operating
What the hell?
conditions are a major factor to be considered.
That's what 9mm shooters do to each other. Like on sports, they'll dump Gatorade on each other. 9mm shooters will just come up and pour lemonade on each other.
Most civilians and police departments do not face the same adverse operating conditions encountered in the military. Consequently, they can have a tighter and more accurate gun without a drop in reliability. What would you consider to be accurate enough? A pistol that will group in 4 inches at 25 yards handheld is accurate enough to get a solid torso hit
I want this target now, really bad. I don't know what this target's called.
every time at 50 yards. It will also hit a man-sized silhouette at 100 yards most of the time. That is what we consider to be accurate enough.
Yep, that's 9mm. Most of the time, accurate enough. 9mm.
Virtually all of the pistols from the major manufacturers easily achieve this level of accuracy. Corrosion resistance. Many otherwise fine pistols are not made from rust-resistant materials.
Like the 783 parts of that H&K squeeze cocker that basically turns into a ballistic furnace right here. They didn't even mention the part where like, oh, and don't go creep up on the trigger because you'll burn your trigger finger so hard that it'll look like you've been like touching a toaster or something.
Such as stainless steel, aluminum, polymers, or titanium.
The only part of this Glock that can rust is that part that the government made them put in there that's metal. The rest of that gun is completely plastic and porcelain. It costs more than you make in a month.
In such cases, rust-resistant finishes can suffice. When such finishes are applied
Have you ever seen such a torture test? How did they even come up with this? The sadistic sons of bitches. Where did they even find the people that could carry it out? Like, oh, I'm just following orders, whatever. Look at this torture test. I've never even seen such a thing.
aftermarket, they can add $100 to $200 to the price of the gun. In some environments, corrosion resistance is not a big issue, but
in the 90s, if your gun got wet like this a little bit, we just got scared shitless and we'd run around worried that rust was going to happen. Did we not have oil or something back then?
Others, it is critical. Magazine capacity. A higher magazine capacity never hurts unless the weight...
It never hurts. That's a good argument for 9mm. Yeah, it never hurts.
Informed officers, as well as a
Look at this awesome pegboard. It just keeps giving.
concealable pistol for detectives. In addition, it is
These guys don't give a shit. As long as there's a detective between them, then it's like they don't have to worry about it. Eye protection, ear protection.
desirable that off-duty police carry a pistol that is the same or similar to what they carry when on duty. Some of the pistols discussed have no compact version available that is suitable for these purposes. This factor should be considered early in the pistol selection.
The best part of this situation is every single one of these guns is filthy. It doesn't even matter if they shoot them because they're all shooting right next to them, so they're all just filthy gross on one side. The other side isn't that gross. This side is filthy gross on all of them, and they're probably shooting like disgusting 9mm corrosive ammo, so that's basically putting all kinds of pock marks and little corrosive soot all over these poor guns that are probably decent calibers, like 10mm or 45 ACP.
Selection process. Some pistols.
Oh, this guy is doing his weird thing again. Not only is he doing the weirdest things with his elbows, and he's squinting funny, but he's also doing that weird thumb thing. Where'd that come from? This guy's doing the like thumb, not quite forward, but like right angle thing. And this guy's kind of normal, I guess.
Are so compact.
But he's left-handed, so he isn't. They're all left-handed. How the hell did they find 3 left-handed people?
And some compact versions are so capable that some agencies have acquired one pistol for both uniform.
Everybody on this whole video is left-handed. No, I just question everything about this video.
Duty and concealed use. This may be the most
There's not 3 left-handed police.
practical approach of all. The Heckler & Koch P7, the Glock Model 19, and the Smith & Wesson Model 6906 are 3 examples of such dual-purpose guns.
No.
Trigger reach and grip size.
That gun made my dog cry. Y'all heard it.
Individuals with small hands can have a real problem.
I don't care how much they're paying you. They're like, go up there and touch hands with that other dude. For this video. Anybody doing that? Show of hands. Is anybody going to go be in this video to either be the big hand dude or the little hand dude? I question everything about this. And this makes me solidify my opinion on 9mm people. This is the kind of stuff they do.
Problem with double-action automatics. In their very nature, double actions require a longer trigger reach than single-action automatics.
Oh, come on. Then shoot a decent caliber.
The differences between models are substantial. When the trigger reach is excessive for an individual, it adversely affects the pistol's zero, speed of taking the first shot, practical accuracy, and the shooter's confidence. Trigger reach and grip size is a major and often overlooked
It's kind of a cool image.
consideration for those with small hands. A large hand can adjust to a small gun grip by use of adapters. However, the large gun grip cannot be adjusted to the
What is that guy doing with his thumbs? It's creepy as hell.
small hand. Agencies that hire people of small stature must consider trigger reach and grip size as an important characteristic before buying any
Maybe you don't hire people
firearm.
that can't reach a trigger. You have like, you know how when you're reloading, you have a, what do they call that? It's not a go gauge, but the length gauge, is that what it's called? Anyway, you make one of them, and when somebody wants to apply to be a cop, you make them stick their finger in there, and if they reach all the way to the end, they could be a cop. If they can't reach all the way to the end, they got to go get some kind of finger enhancements.
The lower the perceived recoil, the faster the shot recovery. There is also less tendency to flinch and spoil accuracy. The heavier the perceived recoil, the more training is required to manage it. With proper training, most recoil problems can
Can't tell
become
what they're
manageable.
doing here.
However,
What the hell is
some
that?
people and several other factors. Consequently, Guns that have the bore line down low to the grip often have lower perceived recoil than heavier guns with the barrel well above
Back in 1993, they knew the Glock had better bore access.
the grip. The lower the perceived recoil, the faster the shot recovery. There is also less tendency to flinch and spoil.
So watch this closely. What's about to happen here?
Accuracy. The heavier
Oh, not this guy.
the perceived recoil, the more training is required to manage it. With proper training,
Look at this.
most recoil problems can become manageable. However, some people
That's
never
weird.
learn to handle the heavier kicking autos, like a compact 45 with plus P loads.
Oh, man. If you can't handle plus P loads out of a 45, you're even trying.
Or a mid-size 10mm with full power loads. Simplicity and ease of maintenance. In general, the automatics with fewer parts are easier to maintain. All of the guns evaluated are easy to field strip for cleaning and routine maintenance. However, detail stripping of some models requires special tools and training. Others may be detail stripped easily without special tools and only a minimum of training.
All right, we have to take a commercial because my dog is being in church. She wants to eat again. Brett, play this again.
Some people were wondering how we made a Glock hand grenade, and it's pretty simple. First, you take a hand grenade and get the top off, the spoon. This is a lot easier if you don't pull the pin, if you just unscrew it from the grenade. Once you've got the spoon and everything, get yourself one of these Glock stress balls and poke a little hole in the top. And it's that easy, and you've got a Glock hand grenade. It's pretty California compliant because really it's just a stress ball. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that quick how-to video on how to make a Glock hand grenade. It is perfection, so don't think you can improve on this technique. Alright, and again, hand grenade, take out the spoon, shove it in the stress ball. Thanks for watching.
All right, I guess we're done. So now we'll go back to...
Civilians living a long way from gunsmithing support and agencies that maintain their own guns should consider these factors. Costs. Some pistols cost well over $1,000.
Whoa!
However, it's possible to obtain an...
Why can't they show us these things at a reasonable angle? And again, at least they acknowledge that that stupid H&K cost over $1,000 in 1993. So let's go see what $1,000 in 1993 is worth today. That's $1,800 today. That's almost twice as much money. So there you go. It's unreasonable to throw this thing in. A $2,000 gun. Oh, what's this other $2,000 gun? A Beretta. 9mm suckers.
entirely serviceable model for approximately 1/3 this amount. It's important to
Oh, there's that gun shop again.
realize that
I keep wondering what this TV's up here all about, because this is his surveillance monitor thing.
price is more often a result of the international monetary exchange rate than it is an indicator of quality or desirability.
It's not that you get a discount when you hang out at the gun shop like this, it's just that they respect you more.
The international monetary exchange rate than it is an indicator of quality or desirability.
That was back when the 4473s were yellow, and they were like, I don't know, 6 pages long, so it was like this extra page of whatever blank at the end.
$9mm pistols. The first group of pistols
I agree. Let's just fast forward through this garbage.
and easily. The perceived recoil of these pistols is low.
Yeah,
Sometimes empty magazines do not eject freely in.
Look at, even back then they knew how shitty
and
all these
P7
problem
M13.
9mm guns had. Very high.
Ruger P85.
Holy moly, they're still doing
The least expensive of the pistols examined, the Ruger P85, is available in blue or stainless steel. This gun is now available in decocking and slide-mounted safety versions and will soon be available in double action only. A compact version is not yet available. The Ruger P85 is second only to Beretta in weight and bulk. The grip circumference is considerable, and the trigger reach is even longer.
They just said the Beretta is the heaviest and bulkiest of the 9mm.
Therefore, this pistol would not be suited for those with small hands.
It's so weird. I never thought of a Ruger as having a big grip. Who thinks a Ruger P85 has a big grip? There's 12 people. Let's see if anybody thinks that. SIG has a big grip. I guess. So basically it takes from here, they start just kind of blah, 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 blah. Then let's shoot some clay for a while. And then we'll talk about all the different things that how a gun works, basically. Let's fake it like if a squeeze cocker matters. And then let's say some like basics of like, after we've talked about how a gun works, how your like interface with it, I guess, how you hold a gun, how you know, the characteristics of a gun that you'd care about, I guess, or why you'd care about these characteristics maybe. And then it looks like wherever that said 9mm guns, that's probably at the 26-minute mark out of a 56. So almost half the video is like preparatory, informing you about the things that they're going to start talking about. And then they spend half of the second half of it, it looks like just kind of going through and comparing all the different ones. So now we're going to sort of fast forward towards this end, because this is basically just iterations of the same sort of thing, except for each model and make. So now we can get to where they get to the end and see what they say.
Series are expected to be both reliable and durable.
Cost, moderate plus. Ding.
Conclusion. Before you purchase any firearm, it is a good idea to list all of the features you need. Then make a careful, hands-on comparison of the various models which you believe to best suit those needs. Every effort has been made to be up to date in the information presented in this video. However, the world of handguns is a turbulent one. There are new models being introduced and old models being updated on a continual basis. Some shortcomings we have mentioned may have been corrected by the time you see this. New options may also be available. We sincerely hope that this tape has been of service in your quest for a double-action automatic. Take it from us, the quest can be nearly as much fun as the procurement.
Type 42. Oh, snap. Do you see what just said on the screen right there? Type 40, hashtag 42 if you want a magic pegboard like that. Co-producer, Colonel Rex Applegate, bitches. Who's Jim Dreyer? Is that somebody that we know? Do you know that person? I don't know that person. Jim D. Y. I don't know who that is. And they just stuck it in mud. No one's ever done that till YouTube. Wiley Clapp. All right, so I was wondering why my videos kept getting copyrighted, and now I know, because of this wicked awesome soundtracks that are playing in the background of these things. So, all right, if anybody wants to jump in, we can continue to chat. It's been approximately an hour. So we watched a 51-minute or 53-minute deal in an hour and 15 minutes. That's only 15 minutes of additional crap, extra bullshittery on top of the, 50 minutes worth of content. So that's pretty awesome. If anybody wants to jump in and chat 1990s double action pistols, to some extent, I'll be interested, and then mostly from the angle of this video, but not so much from the guns, because I care less. I don't own any of these, except for maybe the Glock, I guess. I've had the P85s, and never got into Berettas, mainly because of videos like this prove to me that Berettas don't have the stopping power I need if Clay was to attack me, or a weird Battlestar Galactica target. Boom. So this film is given instruction on purchasing or maybe selecting a double-action semi-automatic pistol for sure. And now that I see that Applegate is involved, this is probably definitely made for, oh, see, look, I'll get this thing. This music thing, probably. I'll bet you this is made for police departments, right? Maybe, security or some sort of other armed situation where they're probably coming from revolvers. This is 93, right?
The answer to that question depends on many variables.
Oh, I thought it meant just the date of the actual video, but thanks. Okay, whatever the variables are, I think it was 1993. And, a lot of people were still coming out of the 80s, probably still carrying 38s or maybe 1911s, but mostly 38s, right? Carrying a 1911 was like, what do you got to worry about here in this town that you got a 1911 on? Wow, a semi-automatic and 1945 ACP? That's a World War ending piece of machinery right there. So most cops didn't carry around 1911s unless they're trying to prove something. The quest sounds exciting. Then procurement totally ruined it. Well, should have continued questing. 10 out of 10 probably malfunctioned. Oh yeah, I don't know actually if the squeeze cockers are resilient to being muddied up. H&K, I don't like them, but they also exist because they're good, and they might be really good. I don't know. I just know that they're awkward to shoot. But I've definitely never seen anybody dip one in mud. They cost $1,000. Who produced it for like a retail convention or a loop at a shop? Oh no, I'm sure this was designed to be just purchased or distributed for departments, for the procurement officer or something. So probably, well, it said at the beginning, sorry, who produced it? Palladium Press. So we'll go back to the beginning. In a Sand B, so let's go figure out who that is. Sand B presents. Get rid of that extra D. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. So, Sand B presents, and then a LOTI group production. I don't know what that is. Then here's Nighthawk shooting a Smith & Wesson.
The purpose of this program is to point out and evaluate the key characteristics that you should consider when procuring a double-action semi-automatic pistol. This video is designed to serve as a guide for agencies and individuals interested in purchasing such handguns.
See, So it said up here, I guess I missed it, but it said in association with Palladium Press. So it was distributed by Palladium Press, right? So they were a catalog that you could order, and then they'd send you stuff when you ordered it. No, it just says in association with Press. Oh no, that's what it started with, and then okay. So anyway, that's I guess to answer your question, who produced it, and then like I said, I think they probably just had it in the catalog. Now let's see, how would we figure that out? By going so what was their website? Crazy. Is this how the books from Palladium Press is for free download? What? I didn't know such a thing existed. All right, so I don't know. I'm guessing though that this was. Let's see if we go to Minuteman. I know I wrote all this stuff down over here, and then we go down to industry, and then we go to gun book publishers. It looks like Palladium Press started in '70 when these two dudes come back from Vietnam, right? And then from '70 to '74, they reprinted military manuals because there was the only no one else was doing it, I guess, according to the internet. And then in '74, the one dude leaves and he starts Soldier of Fortune magazine, but the other guy stays and continues to write all kinds of books. He's Palladium Press, right? Everybody knows what Palladium Press is. So in 1987, their first two videotapes came out. So we know that this is '93. So this was, fairly early on. And Applegate was one of the people he was publishing. So this was made probably available as one of the I wonder if I'm guessing they would do these things as a request. Like somebody said, hey, can you do this? And they're like, okay, let's do that, Or maybe they just figured, what we should do is make a big summary of these things. Or maybe it's like now, and maybe a bunch of manufacturers were like, hey, man, we'll give you a free gun if you make a VHS tape of my gun and a bunch of other people's guns together. And they were like, all right. I don't know. Looks exactly like something made up for showing police agencies as police chiefs or purchasing agents. Yeah, exactly. This is a little bit past switching from revolvers to semis. It was an attempt to make the safety features of the double-action revolver and the semi pistols for police. Oh, okay, Suture Stand. So, I guess, and it would depend on every department's going to be moving around differently or whatever. But yeah, I would imagine that was a thing too. In other words, not to sell the revolver part, the semi-auto part of it, but just the double action coming out of single action, and maybe even the calibers a little bit. I'm sure that back then, they had to start, just like in the schools, they had to start pushing that 9mm down people's throats in different ways to try to ease it in there. Good morning. To tell you more about 9mm is Kit from Knight Rider. You could order the tape from the back of Soldier Fortune. Well, there was always an ad for Palladium Press in there. I'm guessing they probably, I know that they were both in Colorado. They didn't leave Colorado. I don't think they stopped being friends or anything. They just, one of them, dude wanted to make a magazine and the other guy wanted to keep writing books. So I think they just decided to split because they were interested in two different things. But they stayed in Colorado. They were in Boulder. Multimedia for sure, yeah. All right, well, so nobody wanted to jump in, so we'll cut it. So here's the deal. I fell asleep yesterday. The weather's been nice, so I just laid down during G23's show, because that would have been about 2 hours before my show, and that laying down, I think the puppy got me. So I'm blaming it on Chipman or Pelosi. Anyway, things happened. I fell asleep, and I missed the weekly wrap-up schedule time, so we rescheduled it, right? So it's going to happen later on this afternoon for us, and maybe, well, no, I think afternoon for everybody. No, it's whatever. It'll be later on today. And then we're going to extend the Free Patch Friday situation with the Hats Off event over at our Gear website store. So for the next 9 people that purchase something over $25, you'll be picking a hat, and then that hat will have free loot underneath of it, and that'll be random. So you'll pick the hat you want. The loot will be random. Once we get 9, hopefully this will happen relatively quick, so I'm not holding on to everybody's stuff very long, but hopefully people don't mind having their stuff held on to for a second while we get 9 people. And then we'll do some sort of a get-together live hat swap loot-a-thon, where people can see what loot they came up with and then decide. I'm not going to be one of these people that makes people swap their loot, but if they decide to swap their loot, we're going to facilitate it. So if you're interested, we have a store. I guess I could be looking at all this on the actual internet, since we're looking at the internet here, right? We have a store because we're capitalists, and we attempt to earn our keep as we are creating Second Amendment projects online. And to do that, we create Second Amendment themed stuff here in Tucson on our robots. One of our robots puts thread through materials, flat materials such as fabrics, and then we cut that out. We sew Velcro to it, and then you can use them to embellish your arm or your head or the headliner of your vehicle. Some people put them in the lining of their safes, like in the door of their safe. Some people put them on their office cubicles. We also sell a little magnetic-y thingy so that you can have Velcro on one side and magnetic on the other. And using that science, you can take one of our patches and stick it on something metal. And that opens up a whole nother realm of toolboxes and the outside of safes, server cabinets, and other things that are cool that are made out of metal. So with that, we have designs that are focused on things that matter and not stupid things. So things like tacos and carrots holding up an AK-47, or the state of Texas with 81 written on it. When you buy this stuff, it keeps us going. And if you buy something that costs more than $25, keep in mind, if you buy something right now, it'll make a little ding sound and everybody will think you're a hero, because everybody else will hear it, right? So when you buy something that's worth over $25, you're going to be in the running for this whole other deal, where if I go over here and actually remember that I put it in here, wait, I put it in here. Yes, I didn't put it in here. Let's put it in here then real quick. You'll be in the running. Little piece of lint fell down out of my ceiling fan, and that'll scare you. A little piece of floaty lint comes down out of nowhere. All right, so anybody who purchases stuff over $25 over at the store for the next 6 orders, maybe, you'll pick a hat, right? So we've got some hats we'll talk about here in a second. Underneath of the hats is a bunch of loot. So you'll pick the hat, you'll get the loot, and then there's going to be this patch hat swap opportunity that's going to happen live, and you'll be able to, if you choose, to swap your loot with other people. The loot, there's a whole video you can watch about the loot, but the hats include a really fancy Kimber hat. So if there's like all these hats are together, the Kimber hat's fancier. If all the guns were together, the Kimber would be fancier. It's the same way with the hat. The laser light hat is interesting because I don't think laser light exists anymore. Some of these hats were like, oh, here's a free hat or whatever. That laser light hat was like, hey, laser light is up in, if we're down at the bottom of Arizona, they're like most of the way to the top of Arizona. And they contacted us years ago and go, hey, you do tours, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you want to come tour our place? I'm like, fuck yeah. So I drove up there, and then they gave us a tour of the place, or no, we drive up and they go, "Hey, welcome." And this took like hours. It's like driving to Vegas almost. And then we got all the way up there and we make a YouTube channel. Like, we're a YouTube channel. Why'd they call us, right? We're a YouTube channel. We get up there, we walk in, and we go, "All right, let's get my camera out." "Oh, no, you can't take any video." "What?" And they're like, no, don't have video. No video. You can take some pictures at the end if you want. So we did this whole tour and stuff. They were nice, and they showed us everything, and it was awesome. It's a cool facility. It was really cool. I really wish I could have taken some video of how awesome it was. Very nice people. They had a really cool layout, and I've done lots of tours. So, I'm comparing it to a lot of different stuff, and their stuff was legit. It was interesting, too, because I learned a bunch of stuff about how they, source their materials. Were all made in Arizona. I didn't know, but Arizona is a pretty big plastic manufacturer, it turns out. They did their assembly right there up in northern Arizona, and then all their designs are made by the family. So, it's a real home-built and high-tech, interesting company. And they're on the pulse, because they brought us up there to show us the NAA mini revolver grips lasers that they had made, right? Super cool little devices that just improve the usefulness of a mini revolver tenfold, 100-fold. Anyway, super cool company. That hat was handed off to us by them in person. So it's not some sucker hat that was just sitting on a table somewhere. That hat's legit. Now, talking about sucker hats that were on a table somewhere is that SHOT Show hat next to it. That SHOT Show hat was at SHOT Show one year. I forget what year. We challenge ourselves in different ways. So one year we were there, and me and Joe were going to figure out who could get more SHOT Show hats. And that's one of the residuals of that. I don't remember who won, but let's just say there's reasons SHOT Show doesn't like us, and one of the reasons is we take advantage of things sometimes. So then there's Stag Arms, is some hat that I got from Stag Arms, or somebody got from Stag Arms. And then there's those Hornady hats. I might have got the Hornady hat from the factory tour, but I don't remember. So I'm going to act like it could be, but I don't remember. But it could be. I just don't literally remember. Did they give me a hat? I don't normally wear hats, right? So I don't remember. And it would have gone into the pile. You'd have to have been watching the video feeds from back in the day and then remember. But either got it from there or from SHOT Show. I don't know where the XD hat came from. Who really cares? It's a Springfield hat. MOA Targets is a shop in Arizona that sells targets. Interesting story, and I think they're still in business. Anyway, he gave me that hat, so that's a legit handoff from the owner of the company. Then there's that Hornady hat with, I don't know who signed it. Somebody signed it. I don't know if they gave it to me or gave it to somebody else and then they gave it to me. Maybe I got it from Clover in some kind of giveaway. I don't know where that hat came from, but it's got writing on it. And if you know who it is, maybe you understand it and it's worth something to you. And then down at the corner, there's a SIG hat. So a whole bunch of different hats that come from different stories. So Kimber, probably from a gun shop. SIG Arms, probably from a gun shop. SHOT Show from SHOT Show Media Day. Laser Light from a factory tour. Hornady, we just don't know. Either from the factory or from SHOT Show. XD, probably from Media Day, because usually the hats come out at Media Day. Because they figure if you go out there and you forgot a hat, then you're going to wear their hat or you're going to swap it out. MOA, handoff from the company owner. Hornady with them writing on it. I'm almost positive that came from inside a SHOT Show. They usually don't write on stuff out at Media Day. And that Sig Sawyer hat, there's no way they gave those away at Media Day. So somebody got that given to them as a suck-up thing, because there's no way they put out SIG hats. They would last for like 2 seconds, right? So SIG hats are usually tougher to get. And I've never seen one at a gun shop, so I'm guessing somebody gave that to somebody as a suck-up kind of gift, and then they gave it to me to give away. So they'll source on all those hats. I don't wear hats. Do people wear hats? Are hats something that are just like, there's a hat? Or is it like, oh, I like my hat. Like my hat needs to have some significance, or I change my hat out all the time. I guess I know people in lots of different ways with, that in respects to their hats, like think of them in different ways, I guess. So signatures are 9mm, folks. Are you saying that you wanted the Hornady one first? I know that you're the only one that actually in the order made a note of which what hat you wanted though. So I usually wear a hat nowadays also, but I'm not a super big fan. I usually just wear whatever one's in front of me. I do have a lot of hats just from collecting them like this. None of these are worn though, by the way, except for the ones that got writing on them. They're all brand new. So nobody's went around wearing these hats before. All right, well with that though, nobody's making any bells go off, so I'm going to quit dancing. We're going to say thank you for checking it out. I think there's some live stuff going on during the day. Check it out. Tonight, G23 does his evening chat. Barbecue usually follows up with some kind of a meat chat. And like I say, we'll be doing our rescheduled 2A weekly wrap-up. It was a pretty awesome week. Lots of interesting stuff happened. I've actually found 2 more things that I'm going to add to it that come from off YouTube. And whenever we get to 9 people having purchased something over at the store, we can do a hat giveaway. We'll do the big hat loot swap live event extravaganza. All right, thanks everybody for showing up. Oh, hold on. I've always worn a ball cap style hat, but then again, I'm always a little bit country, used to drive semi wreckers and tow trucks. Thing is, when I'm working, I've got a hat on, right? And a regular, whatever you call this kind of hat, right? Baseball hat is easy to get on and off compared to a big ass hat, right? And you can cram it places, and it's got the brim. So I think it's the reason why it's so popular is it is the most useful, right? Right on. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for being in, clicking on your fingers on the thing too, because, who knows? There says there's 14 people, but when they're just creepy, like observers, just smelling what we're doing in here, that's weird, right? Like, I like it when people use the thing. That's why I spend, at least 90%. Oh, I guess I have this thing on top of everything. That's why I spend like 25% of the real estate to see what y'all are talking about out there, so that the creepies aren't the only ones watching. So yeah, thanks for participating like that. But I was saying, I think the reason those baseball hats are the way is because you can cram them in your pocket or into places, with the brim, get them on and off if your hands are dirty or whatever without touching your head. And they give you a brim, right? I'm trying to hook up a thing to get hats made, but I want them made at basically free, and for some reason they insist on charging me money. But once I can get them made at basically free, I'll have a very expensive hat available to you with our logos sewed on it. But it's all about shipping. I'm a big, for me, it's the shipping. Those things cost $8 basically if you put them in a bag to ship, or more. So I don't understand how people ship hats. But we're doing it to raise some funds. So any purchases over $25, grab a hat and the loot. All right, with that, we'll be back to pick you up later.